friend, and welcome to Listen Up, Love. This is a place for open hearts and open ears, where listening becomes a pathway to healing. Together, we'll explore faith, connection, and communication through the lens of God's love. Whether you're a parent, a daughter, a father, or someone finding your way back to hope, you are welcome here. So, let's slow down, let's lean in, and let's listen up, love, because listening is an act of love. Listen up, love, listen. Listen up. We are back, and we are back with our panel of wonderful ladies and gentlemen, and we are here to talk to you about listening with love. Lord, help us to listen with love. And our tagline is definitely listening is an act of love. So today we're going to be talking about the words, the words beneath the words, the words beneath the words. What are you saying that you're not saying? And so what I would like to ask the panel is, what emotions are hidden when we're speaking in an angry way? What are we hiding when we're, so we respond in a sense of anger? What's
Well,
happening?
I'm going to yield the floor to the counselor because she has lots of back information on this. Okay, so I think the first thing that most people don't understand is that anger is not what they call a base emotion, right? There's always something underneath anger. And so anger is a lot of times the easiest thing to show, right? You don't have to be as vulnerable to show anger. But usually what's under there 99% of the time is one or a combination of all three of these things: fear, frustration, sadness. Okay. And those three things are harder. You have to be more vulnerable, right? To say I'm scared or I'm sad, right? Like you really kind of have to put yourself out there with those statements. With anger, you can get the conversation to stop, or you can push someone away with aggression. And you feel more in control of yourself and of the situation. So I always tell people, when you're angry, just take a second and see what's underneath it.
Yeah.
Right. And then deal with what's actually underneath there.
So true. I'm thinking of the scripture we talked about in the last episode, which is being quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to be angry. I'm thinking of that because, as you stated, anger for me it was when we got together, we decided we had two different currencies. His currency, so what I mean by that is, when we were in a situation that felt like a crisis or was critical or was stress producing, he leaned into sadness. I leaned into anger. You can quickly see how those two emotions, if not stewarded well, the anger is going to pounce on the sadness if it's all about you. Does that make sense? And so I didn't want to be that person.
Right.
That was like, he's over there sad, and I'm like, but you're wrong. So I didn't want to be that person. Right. So it caused me to be more intentional about exactly what you said, Kim. And what's actually here? And what I found, and obviously this work began before I met Eric, but I found that I'm not comfortable initially. Like it takes intention. I'm not comfortable saying I'm sad because it wasn't safe for me to be sad as a child. So sad was like a weakness. And more so than sad, afraid. Like he would say, because we were doing all this work in mental health, he would say, you're either scared or you're afraid. And that would make me more angry. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not afraid. But I had to be like, yeah, I guess I am. I'm afraid to feel the thing that is right there. I'm afraid of the outcome that could happen if this thing goes the way that my anger is trying to disrupt, right? And so slowing down is such a key part of that for those of us who lean into anger for whatever reason. Like anger's easy for me. It's easy. I can get mad at the person I want more. Easy. And it takes.
I was going to say something. As you were saying that, I was thinking about the atmosphere that we're in right now, as far as culture and social media and all the things that's happening, and like, how do you refute that? Because I guess we can tune it out, but you still have to walk through life and deal with that every day. How do you, because the atmosphere around you is also actually encouraging anger and like being reactive as opposed to responding.
But people aren't listening. That's one thing. A lot of people are talking, but they don't want to hear another person's point of views. They don't want to hear, like what you were saying, they don't want to, in the last episode, like really listen to understand and to give that kind of love. It's more about, I'm right, you're wrong, and correct. If you don't agree with me, you're a horrible person. But that's, that's a terrible way. We're not going to last long like that. So,
Right.
It's so good.
That it was something you just said. We're holding on to our right to be right, as opposed to listening to the other person, like from that place of love,
Or even humility too.
So what?
Humility, like I might think I'm right, but I don't know everything, and I don't know that person's story and background and why they think the way they do. I think the way I do because of what I was taught, how I grow up, what I see, what I study. Same thing for somebody else. We all have different experience that causes us to be a certain direction.
Well, even in our same families, like you can have two siblings, right? My siblings and I think very differently about many things. And we grew up in the same house with the same parents, and so it's not just our families. Our families are obviously affecting and molding how we see the world, but our own personal experiences are also doing the same thing. And so you literally can have two very opposite children. Yeah. Right. And then I just want to say this last thing and I'll be quiet. And this is where I always say to parents, and because of that, right, we cannot treat all of our children the same. We cannot communicate with them the same. And I say the same boiling water that will soften a carrot will harden an egg. And so as a parent, we have to be wise about not trying to do the same.
Can also buy. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's good.
I think one of the things when it comes to the words underneath our words too is why things can become challenging is because first of all, many of us have not found our voice. And once we do, it's a matter of being assertive with our voice. A lot of us may have not found our voice because maybe growing up, our different experiences, we've either taken the passive route, the aggressive route, passive aggressive, which is the worst of both worlds, and not really been groomed and trained in how to actually assert your thoughts, your feelings, and your needs, and learning how to have boundary conversations. When you say, hey, I don't like that, I prefer this. That's a boundary, and what happens a lot of times when we don't do that, my tendency growing up, I did the passive aggressive thing. I'd be around the mulberry bush. Oh, hey, what do you think about such and such? My dad would say, did you want to go and do that? It's like, yeah.
He's
like, okay, you could have asked me, something along those lines. And so it's really about really learning how to feel comfortable and safe and realize, hey, you matter. Because when we go into passive, we have the mindset, I don't matter, but what you say, think, feel, or want and do matters. But what I think, say, do, or want, or have doesn't matter. That's passive. Aggressive is, What I have, think, want, or say matters, and what you say, think, or want does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the passive aggressive, which again is the worst of both worlds, says, you matter and I matter. Not, and then they're keying your call.
But what's important is what assertive says.
Yeah. Assertive says is that I matter and you matter. And we do it, it happens without making the other person feel like they are being shamed or being judged or being spoken ill of. Assertiveness puts everybody with equal now.
And but why listening is so important in that dynamic is because what would make me feel like I matter might look different than what would make Sally or Kim or Gail feel like they matter, right? And so in order for me to be intentional in our relationship, I have to understand that maybe something that I could say to Eric very easily could offend Sally. And so do I love Sally enough? It's like the scripture that tells us, that Paul became who he needed to be based on who he was with, right? And that didn't mean that Paul was not true to Paul. That meant that Paul loved that person enough to make sure that they could hear him and he could be with them.
Yeah, that almost reminds me of the love languages book.
Yeah.
It's like what is your love language?
Yeah.
And me catering to that.
Yeah, for sure. I got to go one step deeper with those love languages. This is the perfect time to talk about the temperaments. Yeah. I don't make any money off of this, but Kathleen Edelman wrote a bunch of books. You can look on Amazon and find them. But it is so important for parents to understand not only their temperament, we all have a foundational framework from which we're born, right? And like Eric was saying, some people struggle to find their voice. So there are some colors, right? There's 4 colors, 4 temperaments. Some colors struggle really hard to find their voice. And this is what I want to say, audience. Listen to my green people. When you are not using your voice that God gave you, you are robbing people of actually getting to know you. Right? When you always make it about the happiness and the well-being and the desires of the other person to get that peace that you so long to get, one, you're not actually getting peace a lot of times within yourself. The other person is feeling peace, but you're not always feeling peace. But 2, no one is getting to know you. And you're sometimes not getting to even know yourself. So, I just think we could probably link that in the show notes too. Like the link to Amazon. There's books, there's Bible studies, really great information. And I think when it comes to communication, like so important, like top 3. Yeah, I want you to get paid from this. You would want to bring Kim. So she specializes in the training people on the temperaments, and it has been transformational, not only in our lives as a couple, but in our lives as parents. And not only, we have a coaching practice, and so we will have our couples go do some work with Kim to find out their temperaments so that they can they can understand. They literally are like not even speaking the same language. And so they learn how, that's what's happening over there. I thought it was something else because I was seeing it through my lenses. Yeah. So good.
When we do it, when we're talking about our students, one of the things that we have a 4-part series that we do. And then after the temperaments is how to have courageous conversations.
Yeah.
And in this world today, as parents, we need to be able to have courageous conversations with our kids. There's a lot of really hard things going on in our world that we have to talk to our kids about. Many parents don't feel comfortable. They don't feel equipped. They don't feel empowered. But standing on the ground, the foundation of the temperaments, you can more easily have those conversations in a way that is going to connect with your child's temperament. not yours, not what feels comfortable. See, I didn't understand that when my kids were little, and boy, I missed the mark. My daughter and I are exactly the opposite. I do. I mean, I guess she came from the milkman. She's so, y'all don't even know what a milkman is.
Go way back.
Wait, she's so different from me that I was missing it. I was missing it. And we have so much conflict because of it, right? She didn't understand me and I didn't understand her.
I was just thinking that word as you were talking when you said courageous conversations, because most of the time it takes place when there is conflict or you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I love that you were saying that.
Yes. Yeah.
So it looks like we're at the end of this journey right now.
Yeah. Not at the end of the journey.
This is a part 1. But before we do that, I would like for each one of you to share something important or impactful for the listener regarding this conversation. What would you like to share? So it was the words beneath the words.
I would say one thing that is important is it will help the words beneath the words of when we as parents can learn how to actually humble ourselves to our children, learn how to apologize. If you make a mistake and mishandle a situation with them in public, correct it in public. That wins your respect back. It doesn't lose or jeopardize your respect. It actually fortifies respect because they need to see not just with your words, but your actions to back it up that you care about them.
Good one.
Wow, thank you. You're right.
I would share that stop filling in the words for others.
Yes.
The words underneath the words are what they say they are, not what you think they are. And so get curious. Get curious with your children. Find out what's going on in their heart. Protect their heart. I know that the word calls us to guard our hearts.
Yes.
But see their heart as worthy of protection, right? One of the things that I see parents do often is they believe, and it's a fallacy or a myth, that their kids, they're not dealing with that much. They're not stressed out. I have real stress because I pay bills. No, what they're dealing with is different than we ever experienced. It's intense. It's vast. It's lying to them. There's a lot of messages out there that are hard to hear. If they want to share that stuff with you, let them fill in the blanks and listen. Listen to what they have to say. And guess what? You don't have to have all the answers. There's a community for a reason. Tap into your community and make sure that you're all well. Yes.
Yes. Let's hear from Sally.
My mind is just kind of stiff. And I guess, being a Green myself, that resonates with me because I think in the last couple of years, I've really been challenged to find more of my voice and to speak up and to trust that matters. And I need it. And one of the things that someone said to me once, like, my husband can't read my mind. That was helpful because I really thought he should know what I want. He should be able to understand me. This was a marriage thing, but like, same thing with the kids. Like, nobody can read my mind. I can't read their minds. I can't assume what they're thinking and wanting to. Like, ask, be curious, and share what I'm thinking, share my thoughts, share what's important to me, what I need. And ask them what it is for them because they are different than me. Even, I have a Green daughter, one daughter that's similar to me, one daughter that's more like my husband. And I still can't assume what she needs, even though we're very much alike. We're not the same person. Right. And so really seeing her as, I think that was something I learned as a parent. Like, I'm not like, my kids aren't me. And even if I see them going a certain direction, that doesn't mean they're going to do what I did. Right. Yeah. That's what I figured from a lot of times. Yeah. And just learning that separation and valuing who they are as a different person.
Yeah. Thank you, Sally. And we're just going to have Miss Kim wrap it up, and she's going to
All
talk
right.
to about the link and how
Two things I was thinking. One, I'm going to play off of Eric. When we make mistakes, it's not if, it's when.
It's when.
It's always when.
Yeah.
What our kids need to understand is that we will be able to repair the breach. We will have the willingness and we will have the ability. And if you don't have either one of those, that's a problem. Because they don't expect perfection from us, but they do expect when we do it wrong that we model, go back and make it right. Right. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll end with, of course, I think the temperaments are hugely important when it comes to communication, listening, all of the things. So what we'll do is we will link Kathleen's books for the temperaments in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll also link, so we all work for Pathways to Life and we're all parent specialists.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll link the website if anybody wants to get in touch with us in the show notes.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. I loved every minute of this, and I'm learning more about how to listen up with love. And I do want to say that I did learn one of the things just listening to you guys is just like the conversations up underneath, that there is a root to it. And if I don't have open-ended questions, I'm not going to hear properly. And if I have my own spin or my own conversations going on in my head and not being intentional about listening and being all in, then it's not a really loving thing to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to listen up with love. We want to listen up, love. Come back and join us.
Listen up, love.
Listen up, love.
Yes.
Thank you. And listening is an act of love. Hey, friend. Thank you so much for spending this time with me on Listen Up, Love. It truly means more than you know. If today encouraged you, check the links below for resources, reflection guides, and ways to stay connected. And if someone came to your heart while you were listening, go ahead and share this episode with them. You never know how one conversation can open a door for healing. Until then, or till next time, keep leaning in and remember that listening is an act of love.